Welcome everyone. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about planes, trains and automobiles, and, well, a lot more. Let's jump into it. G'day, my name's Chris and this is your news source for things about renewable technologies like solar, wind, batteries and electric vehicles, generally affecting Australians and, well, sometimes people all around the world. Welcome. If you're new to the channel, consider that you've given the video a thumbs up if you like it, and if you enjoy the content, like you really love it, maybe consider subscribing. Help support the channel and keeps me going. Yeah. And, well, had a few great comments from the last video, and in that video, this one up here by the way, I asked on the background of Hans Zimmer helping out BMW with the soundtrack for making EVs with a sound. Okay, this is nothing new. EVs, some EVs such as, I think it's the first generation Nissan Leaf did it. They had a little speaker, which by the way, you could cut the cable to stop it making a noise, just to alert pedestrians to your presence and general whereabouts. After all, electric vehicles are pretty quiet and all you hear is the rolling resistance or the rolling noise of the tires. And the BMW's employed Hans Zimmer to produce electric vehicle sounds, obviously with that synthesizer awesomeness that he does. And I did a little poll, and you know what the result is? The result is this. 86% suggested, nah, I do not want my EV to be producing any sound whatsoever, thank you very much. And the other 14% said, yeah, no, I think we should have it, at low speeds. Now, if you see my Kona EV review, you'll note that I found this to be very annoying and I couldn't defeat it in the Kona EV, whereas the Hyundai Ioniq, the electric vehicle, that one, there was actually a button you could actually press to defeat it. And, well, you had to press it every single time you turned the car on and had a journey in it, but nonetheless, you could actually turn it off. And why I found it annoying was that I was at traffic lights where I was doing the right thing, legal, stopped at lights, and it's making this noise, and it's like, I don't need to warn pedestrians of my presence here and now. I think the situation is different when you're in a car park, but as this very clever viewer noted, modern cars, ICE cars, they're pretty quiet now as well. And maybe I should get like a decibel meter out and do a little bit of a test, because at those low speeds, modern cars are generally pretty quiet. So is it an issue? It might well be. And unfortunately for this boy who suffered a fractured femur, like a broken bone in his leg, because he got hit by an EV in 2015 and he's just received a £55,000 payout because the driver of that EV was found to be negligent and at fault in this situation. The article doesn't go into too much detail, unfortunately, but it does note that driver of the EV was going particularly fast for a car park situation. And that's, well, look, doesn't matter what car you drive, if you're driving fast in a car park, that's just not on. Let's face it, there are pedestrians there, people are sharing the space with cars. And at one point or another, when you park and you're out the car, you also hope that the person who is driving is being watchful for pedestrians. So I ask anybody out there, doesn't matter what car you drive, if you are in a car park, be civil. Drive at a reasonably safe speed so that you can actually stop in time. And if you do drive an EV, just be a little bit more conscious of the fact that these people can't hear you. And I'm imagining now a future where, when you stalk someone, best strategy by the way, if you want to get yourself a car spot like at Christmas time at shopping malls, the best way is to actually follow somebody from the exit to their car. But the future is bright with these EVs very quietly chasing behind somebody. Yeah, just remember, sound's everything. Okay, a little bit of Tesla news, and the first piece is that from the last video, I asked, what would you prefer as a standard base color? And 80% of you said, yes, white please. And well, as my video from just a few days ago about what I'm calling Tesla Whitegate, because it's kind of catchy, not really. Elon was convinced by his engineering team that going with a brand new white was just going to be hell for service, because then they'd have to carry yet another color to have to manage, and that going down the pearl white coat was going to be just easier for Tesla to essentially, service their cars when they need to. So, okay, great. And just in case you're unawares, Tesla did reach out and they waived the $2,100 paint fee for my Standard Range Plus that I've ordered. So good on Tesla. But bad on Tesla, maybe. One of the people on Twitter, which I converse with quite frequently, he reached out to Tesla and he emailed them asking about what's happened to the LED fog lamps that when he and I, when we ordered our Standard Range Plus, it was actually one of the features of the car. And well, remembering the configurator for the Tesla Model 3 in Australia went live in late May. So for 5 weeks, it was on there as, this is what you're going to get when you order this car. But then when they introduced the long range and they did the price changing for the performance model, throwing everything in, it was suddenly deleted. And well, he got thinking, he got asking, and this was Tesla's response. I've been told, unfortunately, that no Standard Range Plus models coming to Australia will have fog lights. It was discontinued from the production line, and there was a delay in the updating of the wording on the design studio. Thanks, Tesla. So, what do you think? Is this bait and switching, as some people have actually said? In principle, I think it's a little bit on the nose. What you could, I think, push Tesla to actually include it, but that said, so far, my car, I imagine his car, have not yet been made. And well, what are they doing then? Are they putting in just normal incandescent bulbs? Are they just putting halogens? I'm unsure. Once again, I think shows the maturity of Tesla, because at the end of the day, you have legacy car makers who are very transparent in the both models coming. So you can see right now, like with Mazda, in 2020, they're going to be introducing, I think it's the Mazda 3030 or 2020 something. It's a replacement for one of their cars. So if you're a buyer right now going to go and get a CX-3 or whatever it might be, you know full well, eyes wide open, that within 6 months, that car is going to be superseded by a brand new variant. Tesla doesn't do this, and I think that's because, well, it's in its early days of progress, and I get that. If they were to announce today that a new Model S or X was coming, sales of their current car would just plummet through the floor, and people just wouldn't buy them, and that would send Tesla into a very bad financial situation. So, yeah, I understand why Tesla does these things, but to put your order in thinking you're going to be getting X, and then on delivery you don't get it, that leaves a very bad taste in people's mouths. So I would encourage Tesla, if you're watching, which I know you're not, but I'd like to dream, maybe just honor this and make things right. I don't know how you're going to make it right, but nonetheless, it's important that you respect the buyers who are putting up a lot of money, especially in Australia, because these aren't cheap cars. Definitely not. And make it a happy experience for everyone. Okay, next. Very proud to say that our trams in Melbourne right now are kind of running on solar. Really? Tell me more, you ask. Well, in the Merca, they've just commissioned and are putting electricity into our grid right now with a 128 megawatt solar farm. Yeah, this thing's super impressive. With 300,000 solar panels. Look at these photos. Oh my gosh. So many solar panels. And this is kind of close to me, like a few hours drive away, so maybe I should have a little drive out there and get my drone up. Just maybe. But the impressive part of this whole project is this solar farm can produce 255,000 megawatt hours of electricity per year, and that's like equivalent to taking 75,000 cars off the road. That's super impressive. And look, in terms of being clean and green, the best thing you can do obviously is walk. Next to that, bicycle, scooter with no power whatsoever. Then after that, public transport. It's a mass transit system, gets lots of people in places pretty quickly. And well, just like how with this solar farm is providing our tram network with power, the UK is also doing the same thing too. Which brings me to my next story. UK's South West Railway is going to employ 33 kilowatts of solar panels to feed directly into the rail network that they run. Now, this is kind of interesting insofar as most systems, they connect to the grid in one way, shape or form, and maybe there'll be a battery as an intermediary, but essentially they make sure they phase shift and match the frequency with the grid, and then there's a reciprocal relationship to ensure that when the solar panels have nowhere to go, so to speak, they actually can go safely out into the network. But what they're going to be doing here in the UK with this 33 kilowatt system, they're going to be going directly into the train system. Interesting stuff. And I think if you live in the UK, can you get out there and have a look at it? At the end of the day, this is a tiny little system, and I doubt very much it's going to provide a substantial amount of energy. It uses only like 135 solar panels, and I'm guesstimating that if each solar panel is like 250 watts, that's going to be essentially like a 33 kilowatt system. It will meet some of that requirements, but I'm curious. In fact, train buffs, let me know. I bet you guys know. A typical electric train, how much energy does it take to have to run? It'd be great to hear from you. Put your comments down below, let me know, and let's keep an eye on this one. Okay, next up. In my last episode, I did mention that the Nissan Leaf 2 was coming to Australia very, very soon, and guess what? They did. They launched last Wednesday. Good job, Nissan Australia. But where was my invite? What's going on with that? Not happy, am I? No, but I think this is awesome. Yet another affordable electric vehicle in the Australian marketplace. I haven't seen any Nissan Leafs out on the road yet, but I'm really keen to see them because at the launch, Nissan Australia announced that they're actually partnering with Charge Fox to provide a from home battery, aka your car, to the grid. Now, there's a better term than that. I'm going to put it on screen now because I can't recall what it is. But this is awesome. You think about it. The 40 kilowatt hour battery that's in a Nissan Leaf 2 is essentially like 3 times the size of a typical Powerwall 2. And your car, my car, it sits in a garage or maybe at work, wherever it may be, generally about 90% of the time, doing nothing. What Charge Fox is doing here along with Nissan Australia is enabling your car to essentially capture any solar energy you may generate, store it within your car, and then release it later on when the grid actually needs that support. Because let's face it, and during the daytime, the sun is shining a lot, and we've got a lot more solar capacity in Australia right now, and we're increasing day on day our actual energy input of solar, which is great. Don't get me wrong, this is fantastic. But stability of our grid is contingent upon having a constant supply. So when the sun does go down, that's when we need these batteries. And what better battery than the car that you own? So if you can afford to give up some range and actually donate back into the grid, I don't know how it does that, by the way, but I will learn very soon because thankfully Nissan Australia is going to give me a media loaner car. Yes, thanks Nissan Australia. I'll do a nice long-term review of that one and I'll go into a lot of detail. But once again, I'm really fascinated about how this is actually going to be working, and this will be one of my questions that I ask JetCharge, aka Charge Fox, when I see them later today. Yeah, story coming soon. Watch this space. Alright guys and girls, check this out. This is Charge Fox's DC ultra rapid fast charger capable of 350 kilowatts located in Airport West, Melbourne. That's basically like near the airport. Okay, I just did a quick bit of research and I don't believe there's any cars shipping worldwide right now that are capable of receiving that much juice at any one time. But nonetheless, it is very exciting because if that were the case, your car could go from 0 to 80% in less than 15 minutes. And now we're getting into territory of equivalents like filling up at a gas station. Thinking about, okay, get out your car, put the nozzle in, fill it up. Some pumps are very slow at some service stations. The one near me is terrible. I don't know why it's so slow. I'm diverged. Then you go inside, you pay the man the money after waiting in a queue, and you might get a coffee, and you come out. You get the idea. So I'm very excited for this, and yeah, watch out for the story soon. Okay, now a little bit of contentious news here for those who don't think hydrogen is our energy mix future. Now, a bit of background. You can get energy from hydrogen, but it's fraught with danger because it has to be stored under pressure. The other issue some people have with it is it takes a lot of electricity to produce it. And if you're going to be powering a car, but in the process you've burnt fossil fuels to make said fuel, also not to mention the fact that you've had to transport that fuel from wherever it's been created to its destination at a filling pump. I get all those arguments and I kind of agree with them, but nonetheless, in Western Australia, a company by the name of ATCO has launched a $3 million plus project to produce hydrogen fuel as clean as it possibly can. And get these numbers, they're remarkable. They're going to be utilizing a 300 kilowatt rooftop solar system, a 250 kilowatt battery energy storage system, and a 150 kilowatt electrolyzer. This system is encouraging in that it's supported by ARENA, so they've contributed $1 million or so to that as well. And they're trying to find new ways to find new energy sources which don't rely on our fossil fuels, such as gas, which is basically comes from underground, it's millions of years old, it's a finite resource. So I'm encouraged, I'm happy about this because, well, they're actually using renewable power to generate the hydrogen fuel, but nonetheless, I'll keep an eye on it. And if you live in WA, go check them out. Okay, time for one of my favorite segments. Long as I don't break these promises. In Promises, I talk about what our politicians are doing or not doing in the space of renewable technologies. And, well, one of my keen viewers asked me to once again check up on what EV rebate scheme subsidies are occurring in Australia. And I'm sorry to say there's been no change. But for those in New Zealand, I'm very happy for you because they're doing a very awesome thing. First up, if you drive a big polluting car, guess what? You're actually going to be charged $20,000 extra to do so. Hey, and because of that, guess what they're going to do for EV owners? They're going to give that money to EV owners as a subsidy, up to about $7,000 Australian. Good on them. Now, if only our Australian colleagues could do the same. But before I go any further, let's get a bit of detail here. Under the new rebate policy, which is going to be known as the clean car discount, anyone in New Zealand that can receive a discount up to 8,000 New Zealand dollars, that's 7,600 Australian dollars, for new electric vehicles, or 2,600 New Zealand dollars for a used import EV. Bradley Schmidt from The Driven notes that in New Zealand, just in 2019 alone, there's been more than 15,000 electric vehicle registrations. This is great news and once again demonstrates how good a rebate or subsidy or incentive program is because, well, let's face it, in Australia, the last bit of data I had about electric vehicles down under was only in the less than 10,000s. So again, if you're a politician and you're watching this, please consider getting us off our very carbon heavy mix of transport and getting us all into electric vehicles. People can fill up their cars with the sun. How great is that? All right, last piece for today, and it's an update on my Powerwall 2 purchase. Okay, Tesla submitted some paperwork to the Solar Victoria group, and then I received an email from Solar Victoria, and then Tesla saying, okay, Tesla has put a quote in, and you now need to, one, identify yourself, to show us what your property value is worth by giving us a rates notice, and then demonstrate that your income is less than our threshold. So I did all those three things, and before I signed the contract, because after I did all that, And by the way, as soon as you actually do all this work with Solar Victoria, demonstrating your income, house value, and so forth, straight away they said you're approved. Great news. Oh, and P.S. important note: if you've previously had a rebate from Solar Victoria in recent times, unfortunately you're not eligible for this battery scheme. So just forewarn there. So it can't hurt in trying, but just know that. Before I signed the contract with Tesla, because after doing all that and getting the approval, Tesla then sent me a 14-page document detailing the estimated prices of installation, what the obligations, rights and responsibilities are for myself and Tesla. And before I signed it, I called up the energy specialist, because there may well be in this month or next month some type of, well actually August or September, Tesla may well be doing a battery and energy storage investor day, and they may announce a Powerwall 3. Who knows? So before I sign my life away, I wanted the reassurance from Tesla that if that does occur before the potential October installation date, yeah, that's the timeline, that's the event horizon that they've given me so far. October. Just keep that in mind. We're going to be coming back to this, I guarantee it. I wanted the reassurance that if Tesla does bring out a Powerwall 3, that I can actually change out from the Powerwall 2 to the Powerwall 3 if the dollar's right and it looks like a great product. And well, he reassured me that yes, that's perfectly fine. I'm not committed until actually the day of installation. And that, what was the other thing? And this I didn't know, by the way. The Powerwall 2 actually has the 2170 cells that the Tesla Model 3 has. I was unaware of this, and this occurred supposedly in October last year. Surprising, very surprising. I've read reports that the Powerwall business of Tesla has taken a bit of a hit because they've had to be diverting as much battery storage as they can to their car division. And there's been other reports of people saying that they're sourcing batteries from other places, so it's not just a Panasonic Tesla battery. No, there's been other ones, but who knows if that's really true. I doubt they are. But I'll keep you up to date. I'm very excited because, again, being more self-sufficient and able to actually put out energy to the market when it's at a better price is going to be a good thing. Okay, with that, I reckon it's time to call it an episode. It's been long enough. If you've enjoyed it, again, give it a big thumbs up, smash that like button. If you love it, you want to see more of this, especially if you're Australian, hey, look, subscribe, it's free, eh? And if you're in the market for a Tesla Model S, X or 3, use my referral code. It gives you 1,500 kilometers of free supercharging, and it gets me one step closer to that lottery of, what do they do? I forget, doesn't matter. Anyway, if you do nothing, be good, be great.